But yeah, did you see that spark? It's pretty good. I think these bubbles. Yeah, there was a big bubble right there. And there's some bubbles around here, but dang, it's hard to tell because this is already bubbly. Sorry if you're having trouble hearing me talking sometimes. I'm still figuring out this microphone. I think I have it set on a better setting for everybody to hear me. Look at a compression gauge. Okay, so I'll just take the carb apart, clean it out and stuff. I don't think it's the carb because I think if you spray some fuel in there, it doesn't really. If you just spray fuel into the intake, it doesn't really matter if the carb works very well or not. Because that's usually how I can tell, how I figure out if it's a carb. If it only starts when you spray starting fluid in there, then you need to fix or rebuild the carb or clean it out or whatever. And yeah, we did clean it and rebuild it and everything. We do need to adjust the float because it is getting too much fuel. But I'll look in the manual to see the adjustment for the float. The manual we have is kind of weird because there's a few different bikes, and those aren't very in depth about the bikes in there. And then the book, whenever it's in the carburetor section, it's talking about a different carb, but it does have the specs for our carb, I think. I will look though. Alright, so I took the carb off. I'll get to taking it apart, showing you guys everything that's going on in there, everything we've changed. One thing I can tell you, I don't want to take all this stuff off on the top. That stuff is a pain to get back on. We've already had to do it a couple times when we were rebuilding it before. But we did change out, the little pin in there. That pin right there, we replaced that. And we replaced a lot of the gaskets in there. And the O-rings, that's what they're called. And this used to be oil injected. And the oil goes inside of the bike over here. But there's this thing. We capped that off because we don't know what that is. And it ran fine without that capped and with it capped. I don't really know what it is. We just capped it for some reason. It might not even be a good idea. There's a hole on the bottom right here. We just filled it in with some solder because I don't know. There are better options, but we just did that because it holds water in, or not water, fuel. It doesn't leak it out of there. We changed everything that came in the kit. I forgot what it was all called. So yeah, I'll get to that. I'll take this apart. Alright, so I got the bowl off right here. There we go. There's the bowl. It's pretty crusty in there. That's all corrosion. I'll clean out this screw right here. Or it's a bolt. Oops. Hold on. I gotta figure this out so I don't lose any parts. Alright. So. Oh, this should be fine then. Yeah, okay. Alright. Anyways. Drop the screwdriver. So here's a screwdriver. So if you can see in there, this part of the carb, the main jet, goes into this hole right here, the big hole, and this bolt right here has some holes in it, so I'll have to take that apart too to show you. But it has like, it's just made so the fuel can go into this. This is the lowest point of the bowl. It goes into here. It gets sucked up into this hole, into the top, into the carb, you know, and gets sucked into the gas, or into the piston, cylinder piston stuff. And oops, drop that. That's not good to drop. Alright. Alright, anyways. So, in this little hole right here, you can see that little hole? This bolt right here has some holes in it. As you can see, the fuel goes into these holes and out this one right here. There's a hole in the middle of this. You can't really see it, sorry about that. There's a hole in the middle of that. And I could like drill it to make it bigger, but I'm not gonna mess with that because I'll deal with that later. It seems like it's getting more fuel than it needs. Anyways, so it goes into there, goes through this bolt right here, comes out the big hole, the gas goes in the little hole, through here, through this bolt, out the big hole, up into the main jet, and you know it does all that stuff after that. So yeah, the float, hold on. So the float right here, dang, I wish I had a wide angle lens. So there's a little tab right here. Sorry, gosh. There's a little tab that pushes on the valve, the needle valve, that broke off on this float right here. And this float is like $100 for a new one. It's not full of gas though. It doesn't have any holes in it. So we had to cut this looper. This right here was like one wide cylinder loop thing. We cut it with a saw, like a little hacksaw, and this right here is pretty thin. We're really worried we're gonna break it off after we adjust it too many times. But we made our own thing, and it works. It still works the same, so that's cool. It pushes up on the little needle valve. It's flooding though, so we're gonna have to figure out that everything that is brass colored on this we've replaced, except for this cylinder in there. We didn't replace that. It looks like it was replaced though. It's pretty clean and fresh looking. We changed all the O-rings out. Changed this. That's brass color. There's a lot of little things we changed that I don't even know what they're called, but we changed them. And we figured out. We paid attention to how many times that we needed to turn it for it to be fully tight. So we figure that out, and like say we did like 2 turns to fully tighten it. We would take it out, put the new one in, fully put it in, and then 2 turns backwards, so it was the same. And we did that, and it runs good, or it ran good until we figure out these other problems. This thing looks a little bent and messed up. These little tabs that hang onto the float, they look a little bent up. So the camera's almost dead. I'm gonna clean this out pretty good. And yeah, I don't think it's gonna do anything because it's pretty freaking clean in there. Oh yeah, and we changed the big gasket also. That was really messed up. and it all fit good. So yeah, that's cool. Alright, so in this video, I must have turned the microphone off, and I'm just showing that I replaced the little needle valve also. I forgot to mention that. And I'm showing like that there's no signs of wear or anything. You know, it's brand new. There's none of those like rings on it. So that shouldn't be the problem for the flooding issue. Alright, so in this one I was looking at the float, just kind of describing it to you guys. I couldn't get it in focus because my camera doesn't have a wide angle lens. I was mentioning how I cut it, or the little tab that pushes on the needle valve broke off, so we had to cut it a certain way for it to work. There's no fuel sloshing around inside of it. And it's a good thing it works, because that thing's $100 new old stock, and it'd be even harder to find, you know, someone taking it out of the carburetor, because I don't know who would do that. In this one, I have the float put back on, and oh, this is where I'm showing the adjustment it's at, and I'm kind of showing you where the air, or where the fuel stops. And then I also cleaned it out with brake clean, and actually I tried to blow into it, and it didn't. No matter how hard I blew, it did not let any air through. So I'm thinking when I cleaned it out, it must have got some kind of speck of dirt or something out of it. Now there's no flooding. And I'm also, I'm not sure if I mentioned yet, but I replaced all that brass colored stuff. I probably did. Right there I'm blowing into it, and I'm like, oh wow, it's not letting any air through. So I was like messing around with it, and yep, blowing into it again, and yep, nothing. And I think I even pushed on it even lighter to see if that would stop any air. So yeah, yep, blowing into it again. I'm like, wow, this is crazy.